Hey, in this video, we're going to simplify these expressions which involve exponents. So in this first example, we're going to multiply these two expressions. We have 2a cubed b squared all times 3a b to the fourth all cubed. So we are going to follow PEMDAS for this. That is the order of operations, parentheses, followed by exponents, then multiplication and division, and last addition and subtraction. So within these parentheses, everything inside of this is being cubed, which is an exponent. So first thing we're going to do is cube everything inside that second group of parentheses. And so that's going to give us, we're going to rewrite the first part as 2a cubed b squared, followed by, if I cube 3, that would be 27. So there's a times there, times a cubed times b to the fourth all cubed. I'm going to write that first as exactly that, b to the fourth all cubed. All right, and then we're going to simplify. So we do have two numbers, and of course, order in which you multiply does not matter. So we can multiply the 2 times the 27. So 2 times 20 is 40, and 2 times 7 is 14. So 40 plus 14 makes 54. We have a cubed times a cubed. We add those exponents when you have the same base, different exponents. We add those, so that will be a to the power of 6 right there. There we go. All right, now the b's. We have b squared times, I'm going to do this in 2 steps because first I want to simplify this. B to the fourth all cubed, we would multiply those exponents, so that's going to become b to the 12th. And so then my last step would be to multiply those b's by adding those exponents to get 54, a to the 6th, b to the 14th. All right, now pause the video, try the next one on your own. And when you're ready, let's do it together. So in this example, we have x over y all cubed times y squared x over z all to the fourth. So just like before, everything inside that first set of parentheses, both the numerator and denominator, both are cubed. And same thing here, both are to the power of 4, the numerator and denominator. So that's going to be my first step, is I'm going to cube both the x and the y, so x cubed over y cubed, times y squared all to the fourth. Now you can skip that step that I wrote out here and go ahead and square them, like by multiplying the exponents. Y squared to the fourth will become y to the 8th times x to the fourth all over z to the fourth. Now we're multiplying fractions, which means we're going to multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together. So let's do that down here. Okay. So multiplying these numerators, we have x cubed times y to the 8th times x to the 4th, just kind of scrunching them together really, all over y cubed times z to the 4th. So we can multiply the x's up here in the numerator, which we would do by adding those two exponents, the 3 and the 4, to get x to the 7th. And then times, well, next will be y to the 8th, but we can go ahead and simplify that. We have y to the 8th over y cubed. So we would subtract the numerator's exponent minus the denominators. 8 minus 3 is 5, so that is y to the 5th. And there are no z's in the numerator, so that will stay over z to the 4th. All right, we're going to do a couple more examples, so go ahead and feel free to pause the video and try the next example on your own. These two examples do have some negative exponents. So the first one, we have 6st to the minus 4 all divided by 2s to the minus 2 times t to the minus 2. There are parentheses around the numerator, but those parentheses aren't really doing anything, so I'm just going to drop those. And look at what we can combine. So everything is fully factored. There's not a plus or a minus in between any terms on the numerator or denominator. So we can go ahead and start combining things from the top with the bottom. For example, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we can go ahead and call that 3. And then you have some choices here, right? We have 6 or s over s to the minus 2 choices, right? You could move the negative s to the negative 2 to the numerator and call it s squared, or you can just apply the rule where you subtract s. I'm going to do the subtraction rule. S to the first, there's an implied 1 there, divided by s to the minus 2. We're going to subtract the number in the numerator, which is 1, that exponent, minus negative 2. I'm going to write that out. Well, even though you can probably do that in your head, I'm going to write it out just to show what I'm doing. followed by t's. We have t to the minus 4. Hold on, that came right there. Okay, t to the minus 4, we'll do in green. Negative 4 minus 2. Let's write that out when we subtract the exponent. So negative 4 minus 2. There we go. There's my t's. Okay, now let's go ahead and simplify those. So I just went ahead and straight up combined the numbers, combined the s's, combined the t's, rather than trying to move the negative exponent to the bottom from the t to the minus 4 and the negative exponent from the s to the top, because that's just an extra unnecessary step. Doing it this way saves you a step. So 3 times s to the power of 1 minus negative 2 is 1 plus 2, which is 3. Now, t to the negative 4 minus 2, that is t to the minus 6. Depending on your context, that might be a perfectly acceptable answer, but if you need to write your answer without negative exponents, we can then move that t to the minus 6 to the denominator and write it as t to the positive 6. And last example for this video is y over 3z cubed all to the minus 2. So make sure you pause the video and try it on your own first. There's a lot of ways to do it. I could show you how to do it in about 13 steps, or I can show you how to do it in just a couple. So I'm going to use some little creative moves that will, exponent rule moves, right? That will reduce the number of steps that this one takes. One of those is that if you have a fraction to a negative exponent, you can take the reciprocal of the fraction and make the exponent positive. It's just skipping about 3 steps of exponent rules, right? So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to flip this fraction and call it 3z cubed over y, and that is all to the power of positive 2. Simple little exponent rule for fractions. I like that one. All right, then we're going to square everything inside. So 3 squared is 9. Z cubed squared, we would multiply those exponents, so that will become z to the 6th all over, square the denominator also, y squared, and that is it for exponents.